Welcome to the Holistic Living Podcast, my beautiful friends. You can expect my uncensored, real, and honest thoughts on a wide variety of health topics. If you love to learn on ways to improve your health, your life, your mindset, your emotions, and everything in between in a natural way, you are in the right place, and I am so excited to have you here. Hey, welcome to episode 42 of the Holistic Living Podcast. I'm in a great mood, guys. The sun is out, weather's getting warmer. I feel like there's finally a light at the end of the winter tunnel and all the beautiful tulips. I just picked some fresh ones from our garden. It's giving so much positive and happy and energizing vibes, and I'm here for it. So I hope it's beautiful where you are, nice and sunny as well. Today I have two very common questions that I want to address that I get on my Instagram. A couple weeks ago, I get this message all the time, but the message that this one person sent me made me want to address this in a podcast. And a lot of you wanted to hear my take on it as well. And I'll go over what that message was. And it's definitely about like New Age. My thoughts and take on New Age, everything, practices and things like that. And a lot of you might have realized by this point, majority of people that are holistic, whether you're like into traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurveda, whatever it is, they're into a lot of New Age practices like Reiki and even things like mindfulness, manifestation and all this kind of stuff. And I wanted to share my take on it because a DM that I got a few weeks ago, somebody had messaged me and said, it was a bit of a rude message, but I didn't take it personally, but I did want to address it in a podcast. And it was, you can't call yourself a holistic practitioner if you're not, promoting and believing in things like Reiki and the universe and all of this. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to share my take on it. It's probably a very unpopular opinion. I don't know if a lot of people will agree with me on this or not. I did put a poll on Instagram and I asked people, do you believe in the universe, in God, or both? And the majority of people said that they believed in God, not the universe. So that's what kind of prompted me. I was like, okay, maybe I'm not like alone in this opinion. And I'm going to kind of dive into this and kind of dissect a little bit about where I'm coming from, especially in regards to New Age, everything. So the first thing that I'll say is, I feel like, and again, a lot of people are probably going to come at me for this. I should probably put a disclaimer and say that you believe whatever you want to believe. We have a free will. We can do what we want. It's no one's business but yours, what you do and what you believe and what you think, okay? I'm putting that out there, but I'm just sharing what I believe and my opinions around things, okay? That's what this podcast is about. Okay, so I think in 2024, the past few years really, I think because of social media and how quickly it's just become something that everybody has and uses. And we also, and again, this is something that a lot of people are probably going to come at me for, but I do feel like our society is weaker in the sense of our mentality. A lot of us don't have our own opinions and ideas. We just kind of go along with what other people say and do, and we just kind of agree. Almost like what they call virtue signaling. A lot of the time, if you sit down with younger individuals, and especially, again, over the past few years, and you talk with them, what they'll repeat to you, and I've had so many conversations with different people, what they repeat to you is what I've heard the same exact words from other individuals. And so it really brings about the idea that a lot of people, I feel like, just don't have their own opinions, their own ideas, or they're too maybe scared to share their opinions or ideas because they might not want to get canceled, or they're also just genuinely not really sure where they stand or what they believe. And so they kind of just are going with the flow. So I feel like when we're looking at New Age things, I didn't even know what manifestation was up until a couple of years ago. And it's every single person that I come across on social media is into manifestation. And everyone is always saying like, the universe is going to do this for you, put it out into the universe and it's going to come back to you. If you want something hard enough, something bad enough, put it out into the universe. It's going to happen. It's going to come true. It's going to be fulfilled. You see a lot of people very big and very heavy and very deep into the new age practices that are out there. Up until a few years ago, it was very rare for me to come across someone who would use tarot cards. Now I feel like every single person that I speak to uses them weekly, and even companies that I work with or have worked with in the past are sending us like tarot cards in the mail and stuff. So I think it's very trendy. I think that a lot of the new age beliefs and practices that are around are what I call very trendy. They've existed forever, but because of social media and because of a lot of people just genuinely kind of going with the flow, kind of following rather than being a leader, or at least just not truly like having strong convictions or opinions, kind of going with the flow, especially the younger individuals. I think that that's really where everything kind of, just kind of blew up. Again, you look at social media and almost every single person is doing the same things. They're wearing the same clothes. They're saying the same things. They're believing the same things, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that at the end of the day. But on the topic of new age, what I was really realizing, and that's what made me want to do a podcast on this, was just the sheer fact that more than ever before, over the past couple of years, all you're really starting to see is manifestation and again, these new age beliefs, believing in something like the universe versus believing in God or things like that. So I don't know if this is even making sense or if I'm just talking in circles, but that's what I wanted to chat a little bit about today on my stance, because being a holistic practitioner in every sense of the word, it is very rare for me to not believe in those things. Majority of holistic practitioners that you will work with are full-fledged, into and promoting and utilizing all of the different new age practices and beliefs. So being a holistic practitioner, I feel very alone in this, where I'm talking to I have some really, really good friends who are, one's an herbalist, one's a holistic practitioner, one's a Chinese medicine practitioner. And all of them are always sharing things. All of their reels are very beautiful and earthy, but they're all holistic videos on the universe and putting out what you want into the universe. If you want a healthy body, tell the universe and things like that. And I was really sitting there thinking how everything that these people are saying, and that I see people online promoting, and that the things that they say and believe is exactly what I believe, but one difference is that they're using the universe as a means of achieving what they want, as a means of gaining what they want and getting the life that they want. Whereas myself and many others, I'm sure, use God. So let's talk about that for a sec. There is, to me, I'm going to just share my true, genuine thoughts. I kind of feel like when people say, oh, the universe is going to give you this, the universe is going to do that, I'm kind of like, the universe, in my opinion, doesn't care about you, doesn't know you exist. The universe is not a person. The universe doesn't have thoughts, doesn't have anything. It's a thing. So when people are like, the universe is going to grant this, and it's going to do this, I'm putting it out. And again, that whole universe, topic that's everywhere and everybody says these days. And in my perspective, I'm like, the universe doesn't care or even know that you exist, but God does. So when there's I see the exact same things, but then I'll say to God, I'm going to put all of my worries and give it to God. Or, if there's something that I really want, I really want to be able to heal my body, I am going to leave it to God. I'm going to put it out there through the form of prayer, and God's going to, if it's his will, he'll fulfill that prayer. And so it's not that what they're saying is wrong. And this is all just my opinion, to me, okay, everyone has their own, and that's okay. But it's not that what they're saying is wrong. It's just that one word, the universe, I'm like, don't you realize that if you believe in something greater, if you think that there is something out there that actually cares about you, it can't be the universe, which is a thing. It can be God, who is this incredible being that even like just saying in the year 2024, that's coming from the birth of Jesus. So I don't want to get into like talking about like Christianity and things like that. Obviously, as I'm sure you guys could tell, I'm Christian. But yeah, when I start to see all of these new age beliefs and things and the manifestation, like every single person I know now is a manifestation coach or expert. And they're all saying, if you want something, you got to manifest it, put it out into the universe. It'll come true. If you believe it enough, you say it enough, or you live this thing that you want enough, it's going to come true. It's going to happen to you. And again, that's where I'm like, the universe, in my opinion, has no hand in that. God does. And if you're believing that there's something bigger out there, like the universe that cares about you, it's really God. Because again, the universe is nothing. And I don't feel like it's a stretch to believe that if the universe, which is just like full of planets and stars and the earth and all this, this incredible world that we live in, if the universe somehow has a mind that it can like grant these things or do these things, it wouldn't be a far-fetched to then say I actually believe in God. Because to me, I'm like, I hear people saying all the time, how can you believe that there's like somebody, quote unquote, in the sky, even though that's not where he is. But they're like, how do you believe that there's someone in the sky? That's crazy. But then a minute later, they're like, oh, the universe is doing this, or the universe is going to grant me that. And I'm like, well, how are you believing that the universe cares about you or has anything to do with anything, any decisions that are happening? So anyway, in regards and in response to that person that messaged me and was like, you can't be holistic and not believe in these, different new age practices and things. The way I see it is I believe in God. And so everything that people say about the universe, I say the same thing, but I just, again, say it about God. For example, when I was going through my healing journey and I was literally in the depths of it, I didn't want to be here anymore. I was beyond depressed, beyond in pain. I was sick of my life. And it kind of blew my mind because whenever, and still to this day, whenever I need anything and I say a prayer to God and I'm like, I'm leaving it to you, take care of it, he does. And that just kept confirming for me, the power of God and that God exists. Because I never once put it out to the universe. I was praying to God and things happen all the time, exactly what I ask for. And in the time frame that I'm asking for, which is crazy too. It's not happening years away. If I'm like, please bring healing soon, help me with this soon, it happens. So it just, for me as a Christian, like confirmed, the power of God. But it got me thinking when I would have conversations with people and they would say, oh, I really want this job. I'm putting out to the universe. The universe is going to get me this job. I would say those exact words. If I wanted a job, I'd be like, I really want this job. I'm going to pray to God and he'll get me this job. So it's the same thing in what you're saying and what you're believing. The difference is that you're believing in a thing that actually cares about you, which it doesn't. The universe, to me, I'm like, the universe doesn't know about anything, but God does. So that's where I start to, I guess, like there's like a fork in the road, and that's where all holistic practitioners will go one of two ways. They'll go super new age and believe in all of this new age stuff. And then I'm the other way where I think everything is coming back to God. And so even with like manifestation, I manifest, but I manifest through God. So again, I had someone reach out to me, a girl I've known for a while who I met online, and we've kind of been like Instagram friends. And she asked me, do you believe in manifestation? And I said, yes, I believe in the whole concept of manifestation, but not in the way that you do. I don't believe that if you can manifest something by just saying, I want this to happen and I'm going to put that out there, the energy out there, and I'm going to, live like I have whatever it is that I want. Instead of going through it that way, I say I'm going to if for example, maybe I'll give an example that might explain better. Cause honestly, guys, I'm not good with words. I'm not good at like articulating what's on my mind. So I apologize and stick with me here. But say that, you really want to find the love of your life and you don't want to wait anymore. You've waited long enough. You've been through a lot of bad relationships, a ton of dates, and you're like, I'm tired. I just want to meet my person and start the life that I want to have. So if we're talking about a relationship, in manifestation, they're like, I'm putting it out there, that this year, I'm going to find my person, whatever it is. I believe in that. I believe you can manifest it, but you're manifesting it, in my opinion, through God. So you would say, God, please help me find the person that I'm supposed to be with. If it's your will, I would love it this year, but on your time. You never put a time on God, because it's always his time. He always has the best timing, even when we think it's, our timing is we know what we're doing, what we need. It's all wrong. God's timing is the best. But anyway, so you could still manifest that. You could say, I want this. I believe I'm going to find my person, but you're going through God versus just kind of putting it out into the universe. So I said to her, I believe in manifestation, but I do it through God, through prayer. And she's like, that's exactly what manifestation is. But a lot of people don't believe in God. So that's the same concept, but with the universe. And I was like, that's exactly where like we're different, is if you have a belief system, in God versus the universe, everything that you're saying is the same. It's just you're kind of putting it out to the wrong thing or person. So when I see people doing manifestation, I'm like, no, I agree. I understand what you're trying to do. It's just, for me, it's a little bit off. And then, I don't personally believe in things like Reiki and these new age energetic medicines or healing practices. Because I believe that everything that is like energetically, when we're trying to bring health to the body, again, it all goes through God. So there are a lot of different new age practices. And again, I can't articulate exactly like what I'm thinking in my mind, but that's where the difference is. I believe that we all have energy. I believe that we're surrounded by energy, that we can come in contact with other people's energy fields, because we know that you can get readings done literally, and they can see these electrical signals and impulses that are emitted from every human and every living thing on earth, and even non-living thing. So I know that we all have different energies, different frequencies, and being around other people's energies, sometimes if it doesn't align with yours, it can make you feel more exhausted and, all these things. I fully believe in all of that. But I believe in God creating that and going through God versus the universe or some of these other pagan practices that are out there. So that's kind of where I've been at. Holistically, I'm all about living as close to nature as possible. But in my eyes, God created nature. So you can't be close to nature and believing in the power of our body's ability to heal itself and all of that, without understanding how complex that is and how that wasn't just created out of nothing, that something bigger had to create it, and that bigger thing is God. So that's where I'm at with that. I wanted to go a lot more in depth with some of this new age stuff, but I know I'm not the best person to articulate it. So I'm just sharing my personal opinions and thoughts around it because of the DM that I got. I do believe that you can be holistic and you can call yourself a holistic practitioner without believing in chakras and without believing in, again, the universe and then things like that. You can have the belief of God runs everything and has his hands in everything, and we're just here to, live out the life that he created for us, and we can't create or do anything without his approval, his knowledge, his acceptance of it. And so if we want something in our life, if we're meant to find the right person, if we're meant to get that dream job or have this career, it's all going through God. And that's just my personal belief. So I don't do all that extra holistic new age stuff that a lot of practitioners do, but I'm 100% all about honoring the body that God has given us, honoring the knowledge that he's given us. And at the end of the day, if you are like, I believe in the universe, I don't believe in God, it's still the same concept of our bodies are very complex, and we are living in a time where we have more knowledge than ever. And so we can use that knowledge and use it in a way to heal our bodies. We don't need to kind of follow the same trajectory that everybody's following. We can have our own opinions. We can have our own views. We're all individuals with our own minds, and we can come to our own conclusions on so many different things. So you don't have to be on like the one size fits all approach to holistic practitioners or one size fits all approach to anything. There's so many different healers out there. There's so many different ways to go about things, and we all can have different beliefs and still call ourselves holistic practitioners. The idea of a holistic practitioner is you believe in a whole body approach. So you're not just taking into account the physical, you're not just taking into account symptoms, you're looking at the entire body, mind, and spirit. That's the whole point of a holistic approach. So whether the spirit portion is you believe in God, you believe in the universe, whatever it is, at the end of the day, you're taking into account that entire system. And that's where the holistic approach comes in. And so that's what I do. But instead of, again, the universe, I'm believing in God. So all of that extra like pagan practices, and things like manifestation, the universe, all of that, I don't believe in that. And if I am to do manifestation, meditations, things like that, it's always through God and religion instead. Now, there's something else I wanted to touch on, and someone messaged me this as well. I get this question probably the most out of everything. And most of the time I just copy paste my response because it's such a common question that I get, especially if I have a video that goes viral on like TikTok or Instagram. And so there's a lot of people that like aren't your normal followers. They just are coming across your content and they have to share their opinion. And that opinion is like, why are you living or promoting such an extreme or restrictive lifestyle? And I want to touch on this too. So moving away from New Age a little bit, but I guess it's a little bit connected. To me, I'm like, if you consider living healthy, living for your body, an extreme or restrictive lifestyle, you have it all wrong. And again, this comes back to me, to people following the crowd, having that peer pressure, not being able to, have convictions of your own, stand up for what you believe in, what you think is right. You kind of just go with the flow. And it's really that weak mindset where no one does research anymore. No one actually will stop and think, wait, is this true? Is this right? They just believe what they're told blindly. And if you disagree with them or you don't believe what they believe, they automatically think that you're the extremist, you're the crazy one. So first of all, our world is living with constant stimulation. Everybody's on their screens 24/7. We have the most disgusting, modified, unhealthy, toxic food supply than we've ever had. Everybody needs immediate and instant gratification. That's why social media is and OnlyFans and all of this stuff is so popular now. It's because you're getting that immediate feedback. We get this dopamine rush when someone likes our post, when we get new followers, when we earn money, whatever it is. And everyone's wanting this constant instant gratification. If you have an illness, you're not going to try to reverse it naturally because it takes too long. You're going to pop a pill to stop the symptom immediately. We live in this society of no one has patience. Everybody wants everything now. That's why we have fast food. You go through a drive-through and get your food versus having to make it yourself, and so on and so forth. So we live in instant gratification. Everyone abuses substances. It's disguised as celebration, but it's not. You can't go to a party anymore and celebrate at a party. You can't celebrate a wedding, an anniversary, a birthday without people getting completely drunk. And if they're not completely drunk or you're not completely drunk, they think that you're crazy or that they didn't have a good time. I can't tell you how many times when I was in university, we would go to parties and everyone would be drunk. And if I was the only one that wasn't drunk, they'd be like, oh, you're not having fun. Don't be boring. Come on, get drunk. And everyone's pushing you. And it's that peer pressure that thankfully I never really cared to give into, but majority of people do. And if you are the one that goes against toxic behaviors, you're the crazy or the extremist. People don't realize that most people today have an alcohol dependency. They can't get through a day without having some wine or some kind of alcohol. They can't get through a day without smoking. They can't get through a day without being on social media. They can't get through a day without having sugar. Like most people have coffee, have so many different addictions, and all of these addictions are not healthy. But you are crazy if you're not having a cup of coffee a day, or you're not having wine every day, or whatever it is. If you tell them, oh, I don't drink, they're not like, oh, good for you. Most people are like, what? That's so weird. Why not? And everybody wants everyone to drink because then it makes them feel like what they're doing is okay, or it's more normalized. And so that's where we've become. In 2024, every unhealthy practice and addiction and belief has become something that is the new normal, which it's so not, and it shouldn't be. So that's the first thing is, if you're living for your body, not in that sense, if you're living like to nourish and care for your body, the one that God gave you and created for you, the only one that you get, I don't personally think it's extreme to want to take care of it. But again, in 2024, when everybody is so okay with getting drunk daily and drinking like crazy and eating copious amounts of sugar and sodas and having, smoking and everything else, if you don't do that, you're crazy. So in their eyes, you do seem like the extremist. You want to think of the perspective. I see my body and I want to honor it. I want to honor my body, my mind, my time, my health. Essentially, everything that I do, I consider it to be a blessing from God, and a blessing that other people would kill to have or kill to do. When I'm at the gym and I'm lifting weights, I'm not just doing it and, that's another day of lifting. Every time I'm there, every single time, I'm thinking, I am so blessed to be able to be here on my 2 feet lifting weights when there are so many people who are bedridden, who are amputees, who are not in the physical health or ability to do this. If I'm breathing, I'm like, thank you, God, for another day, every single day. If I'm eating food, I'm grateful that I get to nourish my body, and other people around the world who don't have that opportunity would kill for healthy food that I have, and so on and so forth. So everything that I do, it serves me, and it's a gift that I give to myself daily by making myself the best version of myself. And I think that more people need to view it this way. You need to have that perspective of, my body's a temple. Everything that I do, I don't have to do, I get to do. I don't have to drink filtered water only. I get to do that. I am in a position where I'm able to. I don't have to work out. I get to work out and move my body. I don't have to eat healthy foods. I get to. And the list goes on. Most people today treat their bodies like garbage. And I'm not saying this in a judgmental way, because I've shared, if you listen to my first podcast episode ever on this channel, or watch my old YouTube videos, I am very open about how I destroyed and treated my body like absolute garbage, and I paid the price for it, and I still am. And I was the most unhealthy person that I could ever think of. So I'm not saying this in a judgmental way, but I'm just saying it in a way to be completely honest and open. People today do not care or appreciate their bodies, and you won't until it's gone. They say this all the time. You won't care. Health is always the least important thing to you until it's gone. Then it becomes the most important thing. So no one's going to care if, they can't walk until one day they have severe arthritis and they can't walk. And then they're going to be like, oh, all those times, when I was, taking it for granted. Or if someone is, has perfect eyesight, and then suddenly they start having rapid decline in their eyesight, then they're going to start to miss having good eyesight and appreciate it. If you have great finances one day and you're able to afford healthy food and all the things, you're not going to appreciate it until maybe you lose those finances, which, hopefully would never happen. But if you lose those finances and you no longer can afford those healthy foods, then you're going to really say, wow, I didn't appreciate it enough, the times that I was able to eat healthy, and so on and so forth. Most of us, we trash our bodies. We do not take care of them. We treat them like garbage. And then we assume that anyone who takes care of their bodies are crazy or extremists. And when the time comes that our health starts to plummet and go downhill, then we really realize, oh shoot, I took my body for granted, and I was that person. I would laugh at anyone who was eating organic food. I'd roll my eyes if you said you were gluten-free. I was completely out of touch with myself, and I abused my body. And sure enough, disease came around, a lot of it, and I'm still dealing with it. And that's when I was like, wow, I really abused my body. And I still, to this day, I cry for myself. I'm literally like, thank you, body, for holding on for me and for being so amazing and trying to heal and take care of me, even though I wasn't taking care of you. And it's so incredible now how much I appreciate my body. And that is why I live this way as well. It's all about that perspective of, I am doing this for me because I get to. I'm blessed to eat healthy and to do these things. If someone thinks that eating in a way to serve your body, honoring your body's natural circadian and hormonal rhythms and tuning in rather than drowning out, and treating your body and mind as temples that they are, is extreme, then that's okay. I don't want to be normal. I really don't want to be normal if they think all of that is extreme. And the other thing too that I say all the time to people, I'm like, you do realize that it's really just recently, maybe within the past several decades, like my grandparents' time, it was not normal to do what we're doing now. Like they never worked on Sundays. They would have, except there's a few jobs, obviously, careers that would, but like things weren't open on Sundays. People rested. People would take afternoon naps. People had so much more family and friends around them. They weren't getting drunk every single night. I mean, I'm sure there are people that were, but in general, like there's a lot of differences then and now. And I'm not saying like my grandparents' time was perfect because they were all smoking like crazy and all these things, but there were standards. People would still dress up. People didn't, weren't crazy depressed all the time. It was a very different time. And it was just until recently where people are now, addicted to social media and having, crazy body image issues and having very negative attitudes and feeling super depressed all the time and eating copious amounts of fast foods. Fast food didn't exist back in the day. Not making home cooked meals. So all the things that we're trying to go back to existed for the entire time that humans have been on Earth, up until the last few years. And by few years, again, I mean several decades. But now that we're trying to go back to the way things were and just eat healthy food, minimize our alcohol, sleep right, move our bodies, all the things that people used to do and did forever, they're saying that's extreme. What they don't realize is what they're doing is extreme. If you are a person that's, again, you can't get through your day without having some drinks. You can't get through your day without having sugar and things like that. These are addictions. And those are extreme. But because everyone's doing it, it seems more normal and more common, but it's not, and it shouldn't be. So that's just something to think about. I have leveled up and raised my standards personally so much so that my lifestyle, my habits, the way I feed my body or nourish my body, move my body, the way I spend my time, the people I interact with, and the way I interact with people around me, the way I choose to look at the world, I changed all of this and I raised my standards because the current model that everyone's following left me miserable, depressed, sick, in pain, literally broken. And I refuse to go back to that. I refuse to go back to, 10 years ago and feel the way I felt 10 years ago. There's just no option for me. I'm like, now that I have this mental clarity, this discipline, the drive to eat healthy, to love my body, it is so incredible, so empowering. There's no going back. My body is the only one that I get. And I'm not saying I'm not going to die with cancer. I'm not going to die with, these health issues. I'm not saying I'm going to live forever or for a long time. I might go tomorrow, but at least if I do die tomorrow, I'm dying knowing that I did everything I could in my power to care for my body and to teach my family and others to do the same and to encourage others to do the same and give them the space to feel comfortable, to be healthy. I never want people to feel like they're weird if they're bringing their own water to a restaurant, or, that they're weird if they choose to work out before we hang out or instead of hanging out, because prioritizing your health is important. And if someone makes you feel bad for taking care of your health, it should be on them, not on you. If you look at taking care of your health as a punishment, if you look at eating healthy as a punishment, exercise as a punishment, not something fun, not something you get to do, but as a punishment, it will seem like a punishment. It will be a punishment. But if you look at taking care of your body as a gift and a blessing to be able to nourish your body, mind, and spirit, then it will be that blessing. You'll feel grateful and empowered to be able to do that. So either way, you're going to have, whatever you put into your body, you're going to get back out. So if you're putting this bad sleep and bad food and bad drinks and stress and depression and addictions and all those things into your body, you're going to get that same energy back out. You're not going to feel great. But if you're loving your system and you are cherishing it whether you believe in God or the universe, doesn't even matter. You believe that you have this body and you get one chance at life. So take care of it, nourish it, fuel it. Don't feel, pressured to follow what's normal, quote unquote. Because the new normal is not normal. It's so wrong. It's so backwards from everything we've ever learned, from every medicine, like every father of, sorry, I should say this better. Hippocrates is a father of medicine, and every medical practitioner ever that invented medicine and health, anything, always was about taking care of our bodies and improving our health. It's really just the last few years, again, with big pharma increasing, people being pushed more drugs and things to suppress their symptoms and their illnesses rather than truly heal, because it's lining the pockets of certain people. This whole industry, this whole culture is the culture of death. It's the culture of illness and sickness. And we're making it seem normal you see people, oh, I'm 30. Oh, it's downhill from here. Oh, my hips hurt. My back hurts. My joints hurt. It's normal as we get old. You hear people say this all the time, and this is the culture of illness. This is not normal. You shouldn't be 30 and aching. People used to live to like 800 years old. Okay. This is not normal. Being bombarded with toxins and chemicals is not normal. Again, needing to have a drink every time you're at an event or a party is not normal. All of this stuff is normal it's common. It's common because everybody does it. Everybody copies everyone and kind of created this culture of illness, but it's not normal and it shouldn't be. And if you're the one that's going against the grain, you're not the extremist. You're the normal one, and everyone else that's kind of following this current culture is the abnormal one. And it's not to judge or make people feel bad, but if you are healthy, you get judged all the time, and people are telling you you're crazy, but you need to shift the way that you're thinking and just be grateful that you have a body and that you're able to take care of it and do what you feel is right for you. And that's all you can do. Make decisions daily to reflect your standards for yourself and for the people around you. If you're not in a relationship, for example, but you want to find, say, a high value man who is going to take care of you, is going to provide, or even just be a good father or whatever. If you're super, super unhealthy and you aren't prioritizing the same things that the person that you want to be with is prioritizing, it's going to be very hard to align. So the same thing applies to everything else. If you want to be healthy and you're like, if someone asks you, do you want to live for a long time? And you say yes, but then you're, staying up super late every night and eating tons of junk food and drinking a lot of alcohol, you're probably not going to live that long. So whatever you want in life, you have to put in that same amount of effort, and the goals that you have need to reflect your daily actions, or your daily actions need to reflect the goals that you want. So anyway, this was a very roundabout babbling podcast, but I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope it makes sense. Just remember, anything you choose to do differently than what you've done in the past, or anything that you're choosing to do that's different than the people around you, than what the people around you are doing, you might seem extreme, but you're not. Do it anyway. All right. If you want different results than what everyone else is getting, you have to do different things than everyone else is doing. So you do what you believe is right for you. Ignore all the noise and what everyone else is saying. That's it from me today. I wanted to touch on those two topics because I get those two comments all the time. I would love to know if you agree, if you disagree with me, and it's okay if you disagree. We're all adults. We can have, normal conversations. We don't have to, compete or all have the same opinions or views, again, because we're all individuals. It's just my personal perspective and take on things. And I hope that it was fun to listen to, I guess. I hope you have a beautiful day or night, wherever you're listening from, and I'll talk to you in the next episode. Bye.